Hello, welcome to Krafting Kitty. My name is Erin, and it's Saturday, so that means it is time for my weekly roundup. Yay! So, my weekly roundup is where I go through my week in crafting. I share any finished objects with you, and we go through my whips, works in progress. We also talk about the book I'm reading, and this week I do have a slight health update. So I'll do the books and the health at the end. So if you're only here for the yarny goodness, you can only watch the first part and then say bye-bye. Where was I going? Okay, first off, those of you might know, I don't know if you've hung around, we are in South Central Iowa. Last night we had a very large storm system come through, some very large events, some a little closer than I would care to admit, but we are safe, we are fine. We had no issues in our direct vicinity. I do hope all those affected by what went on are safe and fine and, you know, able to recover. There were a couple of big guys. Yeah, I do not like that particular weather occurrence, so did not sleep well last night. The last siren warning for us went off at 11:25 p.m. and didn't expire until 11:45, so it was a long night, but that's okay. We are safe, we are fine. They are saying there's a potentiality again this evening, so keep everyone in your thoughts, and let's hope things aren't as bad as they could be. So all that aside, let's look at Ellie Leva's stitch marker of the day, and look at how cute this packaging is. It's a little beehive and a bee and some flowers. That's adorable. So these are from Ellie Leva's Crafts and More, and we can see what she has in store for day 10. Oh, that is beautiful. Okay, so there's some very spring pastel beads and a pinkish butterfly. It looks like it's flooded, kind of like painted, enameled stamping, but it kind of has an iridescence like almost mother of pearl. Let's see if I can get it to lay nicely so I can show you. There we go. Look at how pretty that is. That is adorable. I love that, Ellie. Thank you. So like I said, this was day 10. We have up through day 15 that we will go through here. Oops. Oops, you're caught. You're caught. Where are you going? Okay, you've already got 3 there. Okay, we'll put you here. Perfect. So here is the entire set thus far. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, stitch marker's done. I only have one finished object to share with you, and that is, oh my goodness, it's covered with yarn. Covered with yarn. I have finished the fox amigurumi. I think it's adorable. Chomps is super excited for it. There's his little tail, bloop, bloop, bloop. His face is off center because I sewed the little cheek bits on incorrectly. Like, I had them centered and I thought I had it right, and I used like the stitch markers to hold it in place, and then after I got the nose on, I looked at it, I was like, oh boy. But that's okay. He just looks a little goofy, and that's okay. And oh, I guess maybe, okay, maybe he's slightly turned in the torso because his he will be loved, and that's all that matters. Okay, so this was the fox from Crochet Cute Critters by Sarah Zimmerman. I'm working through this book. This is my year of amigurumi. So I pick the amigurumi in pairs. Then we rotate between the children as to who gets to pick first. So the next pair the kiddos were looking at was, so that's Freddie the Fox. We're looking at the giraffe on the cover, Ginger the giraffe, and Henrietta the hippo. Henrietta the hippo. So it was Bingo's turn to choose. She wants the hippo. which means we will be making another amigurumi for Chomps next, the giraffe. He wants, the kids get to pick the color. They direct everything. So where the giraffe is yellow will be green. He wants the brown to be orange and the tan to be yellow. I do as I am told. And we don't pick the eyeballs until I get to the point where I have to attach them, because I don't want to have to try to remember what they chose. But there we go. That is my one finished object on the week, and I'm very excited for that. What else do I have? Okay, so I did also add my, I'm doing the Aberdeen Wool's pickle jar kit cowl, and I added my mini for the week. There it is. It's so pretty. I like it. I just love how fun and colorful this is. So I did hit that goal of at least one mini a week. There we go. It's getting kind of long. I like it. I am not planning it out. We're just using this as the jar of fate. So I take the lid off, hold it high. I included a care label for all the yarn, so it's just stuck in the lid there. And we stick the hand in and see what the fingers have. Ooh, that's pretty. Okay, so there's darker blues. Hey bud, what's up? May not be my fourth take. So it's got like plummy purple, kind of a Merlot color, darker blues. It's so pretty. That is beautiful. So, oh, I think that will go nicely because it has kind of the same plummy purples there as kind of the Victorian feeling one. So that'll pull that forward and bring in some blue. Nice! I am excited to see how this looks. Oh. My yarn label fell into the jar. Okay, let's put you over here because I'll start working on that. Awesome. Pickle jar from Aberdeen Wool's. It's like Aberdeen Wool Co. Canadian Wool Company. Those are Tangled Poets, like micro minis. Each one is 20 yards. The kit comes with that scarf pattern and then a bias scarf pattern. So my plan is to make this one, and then you can buy refills for that. So buy a refill kit, put them in the jar, start over on the next project. What happened there? Suction went weird. Okay, what else am I working on? My husband Brian's sock. I also am not fully sure where my last weekly roundup kind of ended. I know Sophie was shown, so some of these might have a little more progress than you would expect. But like I said, I don't really remember. So this one I am making simple rib socks. This is from Darcy Anderson at woolly_waves. This was part of a P4A project for Awesome Digital Perk. It was an ebook with like 5-6 knit sock patterns. This is the second sock pattern in the book because the first one was just a plain vanilla sock, very similar to the vanilla socks I've been making, the Crazy Sock Lady one. So I skipped that one to do this one because I've not done a ribbed sock. Okay, the yarn I'm using is from Jelly Bean Yarns, Jelly Bean Wool. It's a UK dyer. The colorway is Seaweed. I'm trying to make this for my husband Brian. So what have I done? I finished the cuff. So there it is. The ribbed cuff is done. I've done the heel flap and I'm working on the turn. I just started the turn. I did change the pattern. The pattern wanted, it had a slip stitch heel, but it was a different slip stitch heel than I was used to doing. And I didn't like how the fabric was pulling. In the slip stitch heels I'm used to doing, you slip stitch one row and then you fully stitch the next row. This one is having you slip stitch every row. So on the right side round you were slip stitching one stitch and then knitting the other one, and on the wrong side row you were slip stitching the stitch you knit on the previous row and purling the stitch you slipped on the last row. I didn't like the texture. I didn't like how it was curling. So I ripped it out and started over with the slip stitch heel I prefer. So I'm doing on the right side row, knitting and slip stitching, and the wrong side row, slip stitch the first stitch and purl the rest of the stitches. I just like the texture of it. I like it. But, I mean, because the pattern suggested something different, I wanted to try it to see how it likes. You never know if you're going to like it before you try it. I didn't like it, so I yanked it out. So yeah, I did probably the heel flap 1.5 times. But that's okay. It's part of the adventure. So that's how far I am. I am on the turn. I can't see. So next week, I should probably have the heel turn and be into the gusset, if not done with the gusset. But there you go. That's the sock. What else? Okay, so because Things We're Making Thursday is done, and I didn't finish my project, you saw this recently. I have not done very much work on it since last Thursday, but here you go. I am now very, very nearly done. This is like all I have left of that first hank of yarn. So there we go. Progress was made. I put on a couple of rows, not much. You'll start seeing this in the weekly roundups since I'm going to do new projects for Things We're Making Thursday, but I still want to keep this. This is the Ocean Waves Cowl. It's Tunisian crochet using a smock stitch, which is a new to me stitch. And yeah, I'm having fun with it. This pattern is by Nicole N. I don't know how to pronounce her name, so I've just been saying Nicole N. There you go. I've been calling the Ocean Waves. It's the Ocean Tunisian Cowl. Oops. Oops. That's okay. That's okay. So anyway, so work continues on that one. I like it. What else? Oh, I have to change out the colors in. So this is my amigurumi bag. I just keep recycling the yarn colors as the kids request it. So this will be the green. And I see the orange and the yellow over there. I just haven't gotten it yet. Okay. Another crochet project. Oh, Spectre sweater. You're not going to see my Joji Locatelli Spectre sweater for a little bit. Not because I'm not working on it. So I don't have it in a project bag. First mistake. I've left it in the box it came in. I spin each mini as I need it. These are using my Ginger Snap minis from my 2023 Advent calendar. I'm loving the sweater. There are some more fiddly rounds. And there's nearly 500 stitches on it right now, so the rounds are a bit slow going, but that's okay. It's all part of the adventure. This is supposed to be a very special sweater that I've made for myself. I've never made a fingering weight sweater for myself. Where was I going with that? Okay, tragedy struck. The cat knocked the box off of my bedside table, which is where the box lives. In doing so, the yarn ball I'm currently working on has fallen behind the dresser. I cannot get to it without moving 2 pieces of furniture. And of course, if I pull it, I just keep pulling yarn out. And I still have probably over half the mini, so I've got a good chunk of yarn still on the ball, where I don't want to get it all messed up by having it as a giant unraveled bundle. So the yarn ball is going to live behind the dresser, and I'll just work from it, because I can pull it and it comes just fine. And we're going to live with this situation until I finish this mini. Oh my goodness. It's always an adventure over here. Always an adventure. But yeah, that's why you're not seeing it, because it's just not in a position where I can move it that far from where it currently lives. What you will be seeing is my MJ Off the Hook crochet V-niche kind of granny pop sweater, which I am nearly done with the yoke part. So here we go. Here's where it's at. And what you're going to do, you put it like this, and then you're going to finish this to where you can connect the armpits there. And then we will slip stitch this together and work the body, and then come back and do the neck detailing later. But there we go. We're working on it. We're nearly there. I'm excited. It's super fun. But here we go. I'm using Mandala Tweed Stripes, which is sadly a discontinued yarn, in the colorway Dragonfly. And this is what I have left of my first cake. I have 6 of these cakes, so I should have, I don't think I'm going to have any issue with yardage. If I do, I do know Mama G has offered me some of her Dragonfly if I need it, but she loves Dragonfly, so I don't want to take it. I have some horseshoe that I think is close enough that I can work with it, but we'll see if that eventuality happens, which I don't foresee it happening. I think I have a lot of yardage. I got enough, I think. Okay, I got one last project to share with you, and I have not yet fully completed it, but I'm close. Well, I'm not close to actually completing this blanket, but I'm close to finishing this yarn. So I am making kind of a, I have absolutely no idea what the dogs are going psycho over. When I make the socks and I don't have enough to make another pair of socks, at first I was like, oh, I'll just save all the scraps and use it for heels and toes. And I thought, no, Erin, you have enough like unused scraps around here, just use it. So I'm going to make a commemorative blanket. So these are all of the socks all of the sock yarn that I don't have enough to use for another pair of socks. So there's Chomp Strawberry socks, there's Bingo's orange socks, and this is the Cozy Toes Balloon Brigade that I thought was going to be for Brian, but ended up not a pattern that would fit a man's foot. So all I'm doing is an ever-expanding granny square, and that's where I currently am. This is where the round started. So there we go. It's getting bigger. I am using, as I said, my fingering weight sock yarn scraps and a 2mm dots crochet hook for this. Yeah, I don't know why I do these things. But basically what I do is I just like to have simple projects here in the craft room that I can do while I am working on editing and uploading videos and things. So I start the week by doing the pickle jar cowl. When I finish that mini, I pick something else up, which is this for now. And once this yarn is finished, I'll put this off to the side until I have more sock yarn to add to it. And I'll find something else to do. That's what I do often. It's the yarns that I'm reviewing. I'll work up that simple DC hat, double crochet hat, or work on the stitch sampler. I'm trying to do the stitch tutorials and all that kind of stuff. So, yep, that's what I do with my time in here. Okay, so that's all of my yarny goodness I have. Oh, I did mention yesterday I would see about doing LYS Day. That's still up in the air, as I said. I'm a bit tuckered, and I want to watch to see when the potential weather starts today. Don't want to be caught out and about in anything questionable. Okay, let's talk book now. So, I know this part got cut out last week, but I did have a goal of finishing the book this week. I got very close, but I did not get there. I think had I had time to read last night, I would have gotten there. But what I'm reading is Mark Lawrence, The Book That Wouldn't Burn. There has been a bit of a discussion in my Facebook group about this book. I believe it was Lucy has finished it listening to it as an audiobook. And she's like, I don't know how to describe it. The only word that I can say is strange. But she's going to keep listening. So I think she's right. It is a book that defies description. It's categorized as fantasy sci-fi, but it's not like sword and sorcery magic. It's not like space or anything. Like, I think a lot of sci-fi is more futuristic. It's not that at all. It is such an interesting concept that I don't know how to describe without giving away the plot. Basically, it's set in a library. There are some warring factions. The library exchanges hands throughout history. There's a lot of themes of passing down knowledge responsibly, who controls the information. Hey, buddy, I got a lot of things hanging off the door handle. What's up? Like how to break generational cycles, the control of information, who controls the information, and how does it get to the people. Yeah, I don't know. I knew the end of the book there is a new third faction that was introduced, so I don't know what's going on there. But there we go. It is interesting. I said last week, which got cut off, that I had a theory developing about one of the characters being much, much, much older than would appear, in kind of like Methuselah type situation. Definitely on the right track there, but I did not see the character's actual origin. I didn't see that one coming. But yeah, I don't want to give too much away because it's strange, but it's interesting. So I did look it up. The sequel has come out. It's The Book That Broke the World. So that's book 2. There are 2 novellas. I'd been saying there was one. There's actually 2 novellas that I have found in this universe. They are not integral to the story from what I understand. They are also, from what I can see, not available in physical form, only in ebooks. And what's funny is I found it in my Kindle app, and my Kindle app says, sorry, this app doesn't support purchases. Go to Amazon. So I went to Amazon, and it says, sorry, this app doesn't support purchases. Go to Kindle. So I don't know if I'm going to get those books or not. I know Ray from Ray's Yarn Addiction, who suggested this book to me, has read at least one of them. Which one, I'm not sure. And she said it was really, really good. So I might try to track it down. I'm kind of tempted to read them before I read the second book. But when I finish this book, I am going to hop back to the King Killer Chronicles. I've read books 1 and 2, so The Name of the Wind and A Wise Man's Fear. And I've read the first novella, which was so good. That was so good. There is a short story in an anthology book called Rogues. The book is called Rogues. The short story is called The Lightning Tree, I believe. So I'm going to read that whole anthology because it's got so many authors I like a lot. So I think it's going to be very interesting. And then after I read that, I'm going to hop back and read the next book in the Court of Thorn and Roses, which I am up to book 3. So I've read Court of Thorn and Roses, A Court of Mist and Fury. I believe that puts me on Wings and Ruin. But don't quote me. I don't know. And then after I read that one, I'll decide if I'm going to cycle back to this to read another thing in that series. So that's just how my reading is going to go. Although I've gotten so many wonderful suggestions that, you know, something else might pop in. It's Linda just sent me another one. Arcanos Unraveled. And and it has a knitting component to it. So magic and knitting. What? So that one's on its way because I can't resist. I can't resist. I'm awful. You should see my TBR area. It's huge. There's just so much I want to read. And I love reading. It's just a time constraint. We only have so many hours in the day, right? So if I'm not... And reading isn't something I can do at the same time as crafting because you need to focus. If it was an audiobook, I could do it, but I do find... I've tried to do that, and I find if I'm knitting or crocheting, again, it depends on the complexity of the pattern. I don't always focus on the words, but when I'm sewing, I can listen to audiobooks. I don't know why. But I haven't been sewing, which is another thing. I want to get back into sewing. I've got all this fabric. I've got a pair of pants for Chomps that have been cut and just sitting there on the table, just waiting to be put together. And you do it on the serger, so it goes like that. I don't know why I haven't done it. Well, I know why I haven't done it, because I've got the table set up for tutorials and table filming. And I'd have to ruin that setup a little bit, mostly because I was silly and I've stacked some yarn for future tutorials on the table, and it's kind of leaning against the serger, and if I move the serger, the pile will collapse. It's a saga. It never ends here, right? Never ends! I'm gonna take a drink of water and then we'll do health update. Okay, health update. I have had 2 appointments this week. If you have been around, you know I've had a series of not the greatest health events all in a row, and it's kind of now boiled down to, most of it's resolved, except I still have lingering vestibular vertigo issue that I'm not fully shaking. It has gotten so much better through physical therapy, but it's just, I'm not where we would like us to be. When I say we, it's not just me and Brian, it's the care team as well. So, first appointment was my general physical with my physician. Everything looks a-okay. I had a lot of extra tests done to check other levels just to see. There was only one thing slightly off, which was my iron absorption levels. And it's only slightly low. It's only a couple of ticks below normal. So it's not critical. It's not anything bad. I have no other signs of like intestinal colon issues. Well, I don't know about the intestinal because one of the issues was I was on antibiotics for an extended amount of time, and we think I destroyed my gut microbiome. And I don't know what other effects that has on your intestines. But we think at this point I have rebuilt it, so that's kind of over the hump. I've also had this lingering cough for many months, and we're not quite sure what it is, but we now have another theory that also might explain if you've heard little burpsies coming out of me. I thought it was medication related, because I had been on, I don't even remember what it was, but I know it said burping was, no, it was with the whole gut microbiome thing. It was the burping part of that. But we're now thinking it could be something like GERD related. So we're trying me on some things to knock back the acid for a short time, see if it helps resolve the cough. Now, I don't have a lot of the markers of GERD, but the cough, and I have had some acidy feelings, and my doctor thought, well, it could be that you don't, like, the cough is a later stage GERD thing. But she doesn't think I'm at that point because, you know, we probably would have caught these things a little sooner. But apparently her mother has like an extreme reaction as well. Like it's a more physical extreme reaction than you would expect at that level of the disorder. So we're going to try some acid reducers, see if we can knock back the acid for a couple of weeks and see if that helps the cough resolve. That'll kind of put us in the right direction. And we'll go from there. I also met with physical therapy last week and on Friday, and it was potentially going to be my last meeting with her, but it's not going to be anymore. I had a very poor reaction to a shopping trip at Costco actually Thursday night, and it was one of the worst situations I've had in a long, long time. So because of that, we think that I've come a long way. When it's a controlled environment, I can control it. There seems to be, when it's more uncontrolled, I'm having more issues. And so the theory is right now, it's the external stimulus. It was the big bright lights at Costco. It was the sheer number of people moving around me, in the peripheral vision, in front of me, moving and in an erratic manner while I was also trying to move. I'd been to like Walmart and other things at the grocery store, and I didn't have an issue, but there was much fewer people. When I go to those places, I have a list, I go straight to it, and I leave. At Costco, it's more like I'm walking around like, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. So I'm also moving my head a lot more, just taking it a lot more. So we're going to work on further strengthening the vestibular system and seeing if we can get me to a better point where I can handle that situation. Because it's all fine and dandy if I can, stay at home and be in a controlled situation, but that's not how I want to continue interacting with the kids or doing something like that. I want to be able to do the fun stuff with the kids. And right now, we're talking through things we wanted to do this summer, and I don't know if I'd be able to do them. Like, take the kids to the amusement park. I certainly could not get on a ride with them, but would even just being there at the park be too much of a trigger? Yeah, so we'll see. I'm going to still continue some treatments. We're going to, so basically what I'm being told is the vestibular system is like a muscle, and you just have to, like any muscle, retrain it and work at it. So we're going to try some different situations. I'm also going to try journaling to see if we can really pinpoint triggers for me, and then develop a strategy to minimize or target the triggers for treatment to minimize them, to lessen my reaction to them. So there you go. I am still trending good. It was a bad event, and worse than I'd had in a very, very long time. But I recovered quickly. I felt confident and able to drive home after just like sitting kind of in the car for a couple of minutes. Things settled down. So, and I would not have done that. I'm not going to put myself or anyone else at any sort of risk. I'm not going to do that. I would refuse to. Brian and I were ready, because Brian was with me, to just take his car, because he had come from work to Costco to meet us there. Load everybody in his car. He could take us home, deal with getting my car later, because safety is first, and you can always go pick up a car from the Costco parking lot. Not a big deal. So yeah, that is that. So I have some more homework from PT. I'm going to meet with her again in a month, so I have a good long time to get the journal and kind of investigate and see what seems to be triggering and if we can desensitize me to some of these other issues. Bingo is very excited because one of the exercises is going to be mommy walking while she gets to dance around in front of me. So she's like thrilled. She's so thrilled. Okay, so there you have it. That is all about us. Brian continues to do better and well. He's continuing upward. Yeah, so let's keep on keeping on. And like I said, I don't know if I'm going to make it out to LYS Day. I hope to, but I'm not going to push things either myself or weather-wise, because apparently poor sleeping is a big trigger to vestibular issues, and I really didn't sleep well last night. So we're going to see how things go today. If I'm having issues, I won't go. Also, if the weather is having issues, I won't go. But I'm hoping to go. Okay, now I'm really going to go. I've said like goodbye, started to say goodbye multiple times. We're not going to do the Midwest goodbye. We're going to just say, see you tomorrow. Bye.